ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 27, Attack by Chandavega on the city of Puranjan. So we are at text 22. Mai savrambya vipula madhak pachapam dussaham sthatum arhasi naikarta madhyancha vimukto mune. Translation.
The great sage Narad continued, "When I refused to accept her request, she became very angry at me and cursed me severely. Because I refused her request, she said that I would not be able to stay in one place for a long time." Purport: The great sage Narad Muni has a spiritual body. Therefore, old age, disease, birth, and death do not affect him. Narada is the most kind devotee of the Supreme Lord, and his only business is to travel all over the universe and preach God consciousness. In other words, his business is to make everyone a Vaishnava. Under the circumstances, there is ordinarily no need for him to stay in one place for more than the time he requires to preach. Since by his own free will he is already traveling all over the universe, the curse of Kala Kanya is described as fortunate. Like Narada Muni, many other devotees of the Lord are engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord in different places and in different universes. Such personalities are beyond the jurisdiction of material laws. Hare Krishna.
So Jara, that is the daughter of Chandavega, she approached, and Narada refused her request. And when he refused her request, Narada Muni says, she became very angry, Dussaham, and cursed me severely that I will not be able to stay in one place for a long time. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains Narada Muni has a spiritual body. There is a very beautiful incident when Narada Muni was once traveling and suddenly he came across Ravana. Narad Muni, he said, uh, so the Ravana was asking Narad Muni that, my dear Narad Muni, how can I become successful? And Narad Muni said, my dear Ravana, success is standing in front of you. Just surrender to Lord Ram. Don't try to fight with him. He is the Supreme Lord. Ravana became so angry. He just took out his sword and started, the attempting to kill Narad Muni. But his sword was going through the body of Narad Muni, and nothing was happening to Narad Muni. And then after some time he realized, and then he said that, my dear Narad Muni, I want body like you. What is this body? Narad Muni said, this is spiritual body. And Ravana asked him that, how to get spiritual body? Narad Muni said, that's what I told you. Just surrender to Lord Ram who is standing in front of you. You will get spiritual body. So Ravana's body is a spiritual body. Narad Muni's body is a spiritual body, which is beyond birth, old age, disease, and death. And Narad Muni is a very kind personality, right? If we can be anything, we should be kind. This is very important. And he began because people are struggling. And as you move around, as you talk to people, as you get experience, people have their own problems. Everything on the surface looks very nice for everybody. We feel that, मुझे छोड़ के ना प्रभु जी दुनिया में सब लोग, everybody is happy except me. That is not the case. People have their own battles, right? So Narad Muni is a very kind personality. And what is his kindness? The ultimate kindness is to preach the message of Godhead. And Narad Muni relentlessly he preaches the message, you know, moving through the universe everywhere. And Prabhupada says, and thus, in a way, the curse of Kalakanya, that you will not be able to stay at one place, actually Narad Muni transferred that curse. Even Daksha also cursed Narad Muni in a similar way into a great benediction to humanity at large. And why in case of Narad Muni humanity? Narad Muni just goes and preaches everywhere. We know there are so many disciples of Narad Muni, like that snake, Kailash, Mrigari, Valmiki. Narad Muni is just, amazing preacher. Like Narad Muni, there are many devotees who are engaged in preaching glories of the Lord in different planets and different universes, right? Such personalities are beyond the jurisdiction of material laws. And one such personality was Srila Prabhupada. Relentlessly he traveled. In 11 years, 14 times he circled the globe and spread Krishna consciousness. Text 23. ततो विहत संकल्पा कन्यका यवनेश्वरम मयोदिशष्टम आसाद्य वज्रेनाम्ना भयं पतिम. Translation.
Translation: After she was thus disappointed by me, with my permission she approached the king of the Yavanas, whose name was Bhaya, or fear, and she accepted him as a husband. Purport: Being the most perfect Vaishnava, Sri Narada Muni is always willing to do good to others, even to one who curses him. Although Kal Kanya, the daughter of time, was refused by Narada Muni, she was given a shelter. Of course, no one could give her shelter, but a Vaishnava gives shelter somewhere to such an unfortunate girl. When Jara or old age attacks, everyone dwindles and deteriorates. In one stroke, Narada Muni gave shelter to Kalakanya and counterattacked the ordinary karmis. If one accepts the instructions of Narada Muni, the ocean of fear, that is Bhaya, can be very quickly removed by the grace of that great Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
So this Kalakanya, when she was disappointed by Narada Muni, because Narada did not accept the request, but Narada took compassion and he asked her to approach the Yavaneshwaram, the king of the Yavana, and that is Bhaya personified, right? And Bhaya was accepted as the husband. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, being the most perfect Vaishnava, Sri Narada Muni always willing to do good to others, even those who curse him. This we have seen in case of Daksha, in so many places. Narada Muni, and this is, we have seen in another place Prabhupada quotes Jesus Christ and Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Namacharya Haridas Thakur. All these great personalities, they they will do good to others. It is like they are like the Amra Vriksha. Even if somebody is hitting the stone, they will still get an arm, right? And thus he gave shelter. Being a Vaishnava, he gave shelter somewhere to such an unfortunate girl. And he asked, this Kalakanya to get married to Yavaneshwar. We also see that when demigods were carrying, the wife of Hiranyakashipu, then Narad Muni, he gave shelter to her also. And this Prahlad Maharaj was born in the ashram of Narad Muni. So, in one stroke, Narad Muni gave shelter to Kalakanya and counteracted the ordinary karmis. If one accepts the instructions of Narada Muni, the ocean of fear can be very easily removed. So Jara, that is Kalakanya, old age, comes with fear. So this is very powerful, emotion in the old age, and that is the emotion of fear. But if when one is a devotee, there is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. We have to just keep on doing the right things spiritually, right things materially, and then you know we have to just have full faith in the Supreme Lord that whatever the Lord does is good for me. Recently, very recently, one week back, we had this Godbole Ajji, right? And in Pune, almost like 85 years old. And the departure of Godbole Ajji was such a story, mind blowing story, that, to cut it in 2 minute story. So this Ajji and Azuba, they were uh, childless, I think, without children. So they were adopted by one devotee, another Krupa Prabhu and his good wife. And they treated this Ajji and the Azuba more than, a regular person can treat their Ajji and Azuba. And eventually, Godbole Azuba passed away, and Ajji only remained. And because they were, being taken care by, this devotee family, they treated Ajji also like a devotee. And because they treated Ajji like a devotee, Ajji also became a devotee. She started going to temple. Very old person. Slowly she used to walk like 10 second one step, 10 second another step. Like that she used to walk to the temple all the way. From Barsana Dham, then they came to live in Golok Vrindavan, right? And she used to go for 7:30 Shringara Darshan, take Charanamrit, whoever the brahmacharis used to meet, including Raisham Prabhu. Because being Ajji, she used to always give Ashirwad to everybody. And sometimes the son is used to say that, Ajji, big people are coming to you. But then brahmacharis were very happy with Ajji. And they said that, see, you don't interfere with our relationship. Ajji is giving Ashirwad and we are happy. You don't worry about who is advanced, not advanced. And then she started chanting, she picked up chanting, started chanting 16 rounds, and eventually became initiated also. Sumangala Radha Mataji. Her name was Mangala Godbole, and she became Sumangala Radha Mataji, Radha Devi Dasi. Again, to cut the big story short, this happened for years together. 10 years she was going to temple like this. And last 3 years, they shifted to Bombay because her granddaughter, our Haldar Krupa Prabhu's daughter, she got admission in Mumbai Engineering College. So 4 years they decided to stay in Mumbai. Even he got transferred. He works in SBI. But then Ajji realized that it's a very high time and, maybe she may leave. And they said, no, I want to go back to Pune with those devotees near Radha Vrindavan Chandra. And when she was brought back to Pune, she was quite in a critical condition. So one senior brahmachari, he visited and he said that all her, keep around everywhere pictures of the Lord. So she was on the bed and pictures were around. And idea was, he said that wherever her, vision goes, nazar jati hai wahan par, she should have, the Lord's picture. And they put a very beautiful picture of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, different deities around. And then devotees started chanting for her. And it was a weekday. I mean, devotees used to take turns to chant Mahamantra. And then that fateful day arrived. That was the Ekadashi, last to last Ekadashi. Okay. Adik Mas Ekadashi was there. And when Aji was there that day, before 8 days before that, she had stopped, eating and drinking anything. She was only taking Charanamrit time to time. And on the Ekadashi day, it was like very intense day. So devotees, they started uh, Kirtan, and the other devotee, when there is one very senior Mataji here, Shobha Yatra Mataji. So she started reading Srimad, Bhagavad Gita, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. And a point came when she started the chapter 8, and she started, and then they realized that, the devotee was singing, he had to go because, everybody has job and everything. Another devotee joined and he said that, Mataji, you please stop Bhagavad Gita. I will quickly sing because, again, what happens is there is a dearth of resources also because it was a weekday and, everybody has everything to do in life. So, but this, Mataji, Shubhayatra Mataji, she said that no, I will continue Bhagavad Gita, you continue Mahamantra. And when she was reciting this verse, you know, Antakale Chamamima Swaran Muktva Kalevaram, Aji suddenly raised her hand, Kirtan was going on, and a poster of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, which was 15 feet high, which had 7 stickers, okay, that glided down on the chest of Ajji, and looking at the poster of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, chanting the names of Krishna, hearing this verse, Antakale Chamameva, she departed. Hari Bol. Right? So, these are the miraculous effects. So, devotee in old age is never afraid. He is confident of, and therefore, devotee is Abhaya Charan, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi. He is confident, I have done my part, Krishna will do his part. We don't have to worry. Just like the child, when he is in the hands of mother or father, he is not afraid. He is not asking, Papa, job ko ja rahe ho, Mama, cooking to kar rahe ho. He is confident of, you know, that my parents will do their response, do the needful. Similarly, devotee of the Lord should go beyond bhaya, especially in old age. Text 24. So this is the story of Godbole Ajji, and this happened right in front of us, just last to last Ekadashi. So we have to stay long enough in Krishna consciousness. We will also become fortunate. We have to stay long enough to become fortunate in Krishna consciousness. Text 24. Rishabham yavananam tvam vrune viropsitam patim sankalpasya tvai bhutanam kritakira narimnashi. Translation.
Approaching the king of the Yavanas, Kalakanya addressed him as a great hero, saying, My dear sir, you are the best of the untouchables. I am in love with you, and I want you as my husband. I know that no one is baffled if he makes friends with you. Purport. The words Yavananam Rishabham refer to the king of the Yavanas. The Sanskrit words Yavana and Mlecha apply to those who do not follow the Vedic principles. According to the Vedic principles, one should rise early in the morning, take bath, chant Hare Krishna, offer Mangalarti to the deities, study Vedic literatures, take prasad, and engage in dressing and decorating the deities. One must also collect money for the temple expenditures, or if one is a householder, he must go to work in accordance with the prescribed duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. In this way, one should live a life of spiritual understanding, and this is the Vedic way of civilization. One who does not follow all these rules and regulations is called a Yavana or Mlecha. One should not mistakenly think that these words refer to certain classes of men in other countries. There is no question of limitation according to nationalism. Whether one lives in India or outside of India, he is called a Yavana or Mlecha if he does not follow the Vedic principles. One who does not actually follow the hygienic principles prescribed in the Vedic rules and regulations will be subjected to many contagious diseases. Because the students in this Krishna consciousness movement are advised to follow the Vedic principles, they naturally become hygienic. If a person is Krishna conscious, he can work like a young man even if he is 75 or 80 years old. Thus, the daughter of Kala, time, cannot overcome a Vaishnava. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami engaged in writing Chaitanya Charitamrita when he was very old. Yet, he presented the most wonderful literature about the activities of Lord Chaitanya. Shri Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami began their spiritual lives at a very old age. That is, after they retired from their occupations and family lives. Yet, they presented many valuable literatures for the advancement of spiritual life. This is confirmed by Srinivas Acharya, who praised the Goswamis in this way. Nana Shastra Vicharanake Nipuno Saddharma Samsthapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Saranyakaram Radha Krishna Padar Vinda Bhajananandena Matte मत्तालिकौ वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jeev Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna.
Yeah, so it's a big purport. We'll read in sections. Rishabham Yavananam. So she approached this Yavaneshwara and Kalakanda addressed him, "O great hero, you are the best of the untouchables because nobody wants to touch you. You are a Bhaya and I'm in love with you. Let us make friendship and you become my husband." And Srila Prabhupada writes, amazing purport here. Especially, it is a great purport for Varishta Vaishnavas. Right? Srila Prabhupada explains that Yavananam Rishabham means people are, she is addressing as the king of the Yavana. So there are classes of people which are called as Yavana and Mlencha. So generally, Yavana and Mlencha are referred to, the particular people outside India, particular classes Prabhupada writes. But according to Vedic principle, one who does not follow the Vedic rules and regulations becomes Yavana and Mlencha. And then Prabhupada writes, what is the Vedic civilization? Vedic civilization means one should follow the Hare Krishna lifestyle or the general Sanatan lifestyle that one is following. Wake up in the morning, take bath, chant Hare Krishna, offer Mangalarti to the deities, study Srimad Bhagavatam Shastra, take prasad, engaging, dressing, decorating deities. If one is a grahastha, one should go to job, do the hard work very honestly, right? And then spread the Krishna consciousness mission. And this is how the Arya civilization is. Arya civilization is not just that I am born in India and therefore I am Arya. No. Within India or outside India, one can be Anarya. And similarly, within India or outside India, one can be Arya. So Yavana and Mlencha, they are not like, this religion and that religion. Those who do not follow the Vedic principles, they are called as Yavana and Mlencha. So Srila Prabhupada writes, the very important principle is the hygienic principle. Otherwise, one will be subjected to many contagious diseases, right? So hygienic principle also refers to purity and not having vyabhichar is also considered because, the activity of illicit sex comes under the category of ashaucha, right? And therefore Prabhupada writes they are contagious diseases. And now Srila Prabhupada writes that in the old age, a devotee becomes extremely valuable because he has a lifetime of realization, lifetime of his like a, the tapta, he is being purified by the lifetime of existence in the material world. And while simultaneously practicing Krishna consciousness, the older the devotee becomes, he becomes very, very valuable. And Prabhupada writes, he can work like a young man even if he's 75 or 80 years old. He's writing about himself, like Jai Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada gives examples. The daughter of Kala cannot overcome a Vaishnava. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he engaged in writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, the crest jewel of Vaishnava literature, at the age of 90 plus. Similarly, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they began their spiritual life after their retirement. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he began his, the spiritual quest. He was always searching, but he came to conclusion at the age of 40, 42, right? In Pune, we have a devotee. His grace Jayadev Prabhu and Satyavati Mataji and Jayadev Prabhu. So Jayadev Prabhu became a devotee. He started taking interest in spiritual life at the age of 47. So, and then went on to become a very great devotee in Pune. So, age is not a parameter. Neither age is something to slow down for a devotee of the Lord. Right? Therefore, it is very important that we should have a long-term vision of remaining lifetime of a devotee. And for that, Tikeraho is very important in devotional service. One should not prematurely, for any reason, for accidental fall downs, or for a deviation, for some fight with a Vaishnava, mood matching with a Prabhuji Mera inke saath, and those kind of things, or taking some contrarian, the stance, or you know, become, following some deviation in philosophy. One should not go away from Krishna consciousness. This is very important. Therefore, our Bhakti Charu Maharaj used to say, become resourceful in the mission of Krishna. Right? Srila Prabhupada here quotes Srinivas Acharya, glorifying Shada Goswamis. Nana Shastra Vicharani Karipano, Sadharma Samsthapako, Lokanam Hitakarino, always engaged in doing Hita for the people. Paropakarartham. Right? And this is how they are honored all over the three worlds. Right? Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami. Simply we take the names of these Goswamis and have a darshan of these Goswamis. Once obstacles in devotional service will be destroyed. This is the power of these Shada Goswamis. Yeah, please continue.
Thus, Jara, the effect of old age, does not harass a devotee. This is because a devotee follows the instructions and the determination of Narada Muni. All devotees are in the disciplic succession stemming from Narada Muni because they worship the deity according to Narada Muni's direction, namely the Narada Pancharatra or the Pancharatrika Vidhi. A devotee follows the principles of Pancharatrika Vidhi as well as a Bhagavata Vidhi. Bhagavata Vidhi includes preaching work, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, the hearing and chanting of the glories of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Pancharatrika Vidhi includes Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam, because a devotee rigidly follows the instructions of Narada Muni. He has no fear of old age, disease, or death. Apparently, a devotee may grow old, but he is not subjected to the symptoms of defeat experienced by a common man in old age. Consequently, old age does not make a devotee fearful of death, as a common man is fearful of death. When Jara or old age takes shelter of a devotee, Kalakanya diminishes the devotee's fear. A devotee knows that after death he is going back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, he has no fear of death. Thus, instead of depressing a devotee, advanced age helps him become fearless and thus happy.
Yeah. Further, Srila Prabhupada explains, thus Jara, the effect of old age, does not harass the devotee. Old age is very harassing, right? Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Jara is deadly. His Grace Gaurang Prabhu had given very celebrated class 20 years back. Advantages of taking Krishna consciousness is in youth. And there one point he was mentioning that generally when you become old, you may become a liability, but when you become a devotee and become old, you become a great asset. Prabhupada was once joking. Prabhupada said, Britishers ruled us, India, and I am ruling Britishers. And Prabhupada just showed his two personal servants who were the British origin devotees. They had become brahmacharis. They were also smiling. It was a light moment. And he said, they are serving me day in, day out, and I am not even paying them. Right. So, old age does not harass a devotee. And therefore, because the devotee follows the instructions and determination of Narada Muni, because we are coming in disciplic succession, how we follow the instruction? By following Narada Pancharatra, the deity worshipping manual. And therefore, a devotee goes beyond Jara. Pancharatrika Vidhi, Prabhupada writes here beautifully, right? Bhagavata Vidhi is Smarana, Shravanas and Smaranam. Shravana Kirtana Smarana. That is, the first thing are Bhagavata Vidhi. Pancharatrika Vidhi is Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. And because a devotee rigidly follows the instructions of Narada Muni, he has no fear of old age, disease, or death. Of course, a devotee is also going to grow old, but the fear and the symptoms of old age experienced by common man is not experienced by a devotee. Generally, old age comes with hatasha, a sense of defeat, So, devotee will not have this. And thus, Jara, Narada Muni only gave shelter to Jara. So instead of depressing a devotee, advanced age helps him become fearless, and thus happy. And this is how Srila Prabhupada started an entire ISKCON mission at the age of 69, traveling through Jaladut, having 2 heart attack, 1 paralysis attack, 40 rupees in the hand. Rupee, it was not even $7 that time. Rupee in the hand, not to know whether to go left or right when he landed in Boston. But this is the position of devotee of the Lord. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Prabhupada.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you,
Bol.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you very
Thank you,
much. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Nam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu Leela Sakata.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, we were discussing about old age, right? Getting old. So it's perfectly agree that old age is just
Prabhuji,
as
your
Prabhupada
voice is
said.
very low and breaking.
Okay, is this better, Prabhuji?
Better, yes.
Yeah, my question is like, as we are advancing in age, what kind of qualities we should inculcate to get to that stage of fearlessness, the old age?
I mean, it's a deep question, but immediate answer is 5.29. Oktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richyati. We have to become detached. Sometimes we think that whole world depends on us, and everybody needs my guidance, and I'm very intelligent, and people are depending on me. Generally, that is not the case. So, yesterday we were discussing with some devotees, and they were telling the story of Bhanu Maharaj. And Bhanu Maharaj, they said that, Maharaj, how you're a temple president, you are, Maharaj, you have to do so much traveling, writing, this, that, and you are always smiling and happy. How it is? So Bhanu Maharaj said one word only: detachment. Right? So, of course, with context, the answer will change. But the point is that, when we become old, we have to, again, age appropriate and how old is real old and everything, all those disclaimers in place. But we have to, take interest accordingly, give suggestions accordingly. Generally, old people become irritable when they are poking nose in everything, when they are giving advice, and many times right advice, right? It's just like the mother becomes very irritable to a teenage child, teenage daughter, or a teenage son because mother is speaking all right things, but the child wants to experience, and mother wants to cut short that experience, the learning curve. But it takes time. Similarly, although in old age we may be speaking the truth, but the point is that people need their time to come to that realization, and then there is a lot of misunderstanding, unnecessary. So the one verse here is the Shanti. How to attain Shanti is, that is the Shanti formula. 5.29 Bhagavad Gita. That Krishna is the ultimate well-wisher, benefactor for the world in general. We are not Srila Prabhupada in a way that we have to fix every problem within ISKCON. We are very small people. There are big people, there are bigger people, there are biggest people, even within ISKCON. So we have to be aware of these things. We cannot, there is limit how much we can care for, even for people, even for near and dear ones. There is a limit how much we can care. So of course we are always well-wishing, always extending, but understanding our limits and people acceptability, we have to do the needful. Then we do not become irritable to people. Right?
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.